In this town, you can't talk about gay people. Everybody gets all worked up. Stop it. They're sensitive. Why? Because they suck dick? Stop it. Okay, because they suck dick, they get to have a parade and fuck up traffic for 3 days. What the fuck is that? Girls, y'all suck dick. Where's your parade? Right. Where's your parade? And don't get it twisted. I'm not homophobic, okay? I'm just saying, okay, I ain't willing to take a 15-mile detour so little bunny Fufu can walk up and down the street going, yay for dick, I like it in the butt. Now when gas is $2.23 a gallon, fuck you, Bubbles. Go suck dick in your bedroom. I ain't got no problem there. Just get the fuck out of the road. And gay people just take shit that used to be everybody's and make it gay. Remember when you was a kid, you used to draw a picture of your house, you put a nice big rainbow in the sky? Gay. They done took the rainbow. I want the rainbow back. You can't have the rainbow, goddammit. We didn't vote on this shit. I didn't get an email. Fuck you, greedy bastards. How many colors do you need, goddammit? You already got pink, and now you need the whole fucking spectrum? Jesus Christ. And what the fuck does a rainbow have to do with sucking dick anyway? Ain't like it's magically delicious, huh, girl? Right? And if you gay and you're all worked up, well, guess what? It's just a fucking joke. Even though personally I do want the rainbow back, it's just a fucking joke. Look, you can take a dick in the ass, you can damn sure take a joke.
Originally, this began as a pamphlet. These are the seminars. This is seminar 8. It's a bloated document. It would make a pretty thick book. It's point for point, the research. And I've been looking for decent people so I could spoon feed them more stepping stones, but most people don't give a shit. They're not invested, which means they're not involved. As you can probably already see, I plugged it in to make sure this jazz works. Who knows what the fuck it's doing right now, but plug in a keyword, rainbow. And as it reads, 1842, 1848, originally known as the Rite of Iris, aka the Mystic Sons of Iris. Later it was rebranded WWW, aka the Rainbow, aka the Rainbow Fraternity. Also founded by the Wesleyan Society. This fraternity was originally known as the Crescent, which was founded at the University of Mississippi by 7 students from LaGrange University, Tennessee. The Crescent relates to the Bloody Crescent. A lot of times you'll see our masters throwing horns. It has to do with that jazz too. It's a bigger thought for another day. Maybe I'll show you guys some more stuff. But probably not, because most people aren't invested, which means they're not involved. And as always, what the fuck do I know? Side note. Bear in mind, Northerners were not permitted to join the Rainbow. Before the Civil War, the Rainbow had chapters in Texas, North and South Carolina, Alabama, Tennessee. Side note, remind me, or I don't know, some of this might be poorly worded, but remind me how we begin any address on the Ethernets, www. If it wasn't clear, I'm highlighting the fact that our masters control us and everything we assume we have power over. I'm attempting to shake you until you realize that you have masters, as do I. What I'm highlighting is that the Rainbow was meant to be corrupted before the alphabet community. Food for thought. Numerous chapters we know today that use Greek letters to signify their fraternities absorbed and adopted traditions handed down by the Rainbow. If you look up a news article from 1906, November, that displays the logo of the Rainbow of Delta Tau, Delta Volume XXX. You'll clearly see a dot in the center of the O to represent the polar vortex, It's also known as, oh yeah, I did put it in here, good. Sorry, I'm jumping ahead, I haven't read this in a long time. The center of an O that represents the polar vortex, aka Tron Light Bridge, and the circumpunct, aka the circle with the dot in its center. It's the fucking target sigil. And it's the modern day target sigil. If you look up the original target sigil, it's got multiple concentric rings. You want to read any more too? Side note, rainbow is 7 letters long, although crescent is 8 letters long.
Good evening, everyone. I thought I'd make a really quick, simple video on rainbows. Now, a lot of you, your whole life, have always wondered why that rainbow is in the shape of a dome. Why is it always arched? Okay. What I'm going to be showing you in this video is how that rainbow is formed, what causes that rainbow, and also at the same time what causes the double rainbow above it. And it's really simple. Now, science will tell you that a rainbow is caused by sunlight and atmospheric conditions. Light enters a water droplet, slowing down and bending as it goes from air to denser water. The light reflects off the inside of the droplet, separating into its component wavelengths or colors. When light exits the droplet, it makes a rainbow. Okay, now for the most part, that's true, but what they're not telling you is that the raindrops are only there to work as a screen to capture what's being projected. Okay? Now, in order to understand this, you have to be able to understand what refraction is. Refraction, deflection from a straight path undergone by a light ray or energy wave and passing obliquely from one medium, such as air, into another, which is glass, in which its velocity is different. Now here's an example of refraction. The white light has to pass through a prism, which is usually a glass or a crystal or a mirror, and cause the colors to come out, which, as you can see here, I'll break it down for you. The prism would be a glass of some sort, and it has to hit that glass and refract, which will make the colors, as you can see here in the rainbow. Okay, now that you understand what refraction is, I'm going to show you how this rainbow is formed. Now, what you got to tell yourself is, and we all know this, we've never seen a straight rainbow. We've never seen a rainbow going up, down, or down to up, or left to right, or even diagonally. It's always in the shape of an arch, in the shape of a dome. So here's what you have to remember. The white light is reflecting through a prism, which has to be glass, something of a glass form. So whatever that sunlight is hitting, when you see that rainbow, it's the shape of the prism that it's hitting, which is the glass firmament, the glass dome. That's why it's shaped the way it is. Now, the rainbow is always there. You just can't never see it unless it rains. The raindrops act as a screen, like if you were projecting a movie. The movie could be playing through the projector all day, but if it doesn't have a screen to reflect off of, you can't see it. But what you have to realize is the rainbow is always there, but the only time you see it is when it rains, because the rain acts as the screen. Like right here, check this out. There's always a rainbow out here. Now, if I take this water hose and I turn it on a mist, that mist makes a screen of water across the air, and it shows the rainbow, the reflection. Notice even right here where I'm at, it's still shaped like a dome. It's rounded because that's the shape of the prism that the sun is reflecting off of to give us this rainbow. It's really simple, folks. And like I said, it's in 3D also. You know, no matter which way you turn, that rainbow's always there as long as you got that mist of water to give you your screen. So, are you with me so far? And if you are, now I'm going to take you deeper into the rabbit hole. Now, you thought you were awake before? After I show you this, you're really going to be awake. Okay, here we have a rainbow over the ocean. Now, what I want you to pay attention to is the reflection of the rainbow over the water. Notice how the colors are inverted, which means reversed, backwards. Notice how the colors go backwards from the original rainbow. on its reflection in the water? So we know in our simple common sense that that's a reflection of the rainbow, so it automatically reverses the colors. Just like if you and I looked in the mirror, the left side of our face would be the right side of our face, right? Okay, now that you understand that, look at the double rainbow. Look at the rainbow on the outside of the original rainbow. Notice how the colors are reversed, just like they were when you seen the rainbow over water. That's because the firmament is the glass prism showing the reflection of the original rainbow. That's why the colors are backwards. Now, as you can see here, I've made a rainbow of colors on a piece of paper, but I'm showing you how the colors invert, how they reverse when I hold it in front of a mirror. Therefore, proving, just like you've seen over water, when those colors are reversed, that's the reflection of the rainbow in the firmament above. Now, if we look up how to make a rainbow inside, here's what it tells us. We need a flashlight or a sunny day, a mirror at least 5 by 5, a pan of water, a CD, and a prism. We use this one, Tedco Light Crystal Prism 2.5. Now, here we go. I'm going to go through this really quick. We're going to fill the bowl of water. We're going to use the mirror. You have to remember that the mirror is flat. It's straight and flat. So therefore, our rainbow, which is going to reflect on the wall, which would be your raindrops, your mist, which will be your screen. Check this out. It's going to be a straight rainbow, a straight line, okay? Because it's a straight, flat mirror. Now check this out. If I take a round dome-shaped glass and let the sunlight shine through it, guess what I get? A rounded, arched, dome-shaped rainbow, just like you see every time it rains, because the raindrops give you a screen to see what's projecting from above. And just like I showed you before, the rainbow is always there. You just need a screen to capture it, just like you always need a movie screen to capture what's being projected out of the projector. The movie that's being projected, it's always there, but you need a screen to capture it, like you see right here. Now I want you to watch these couple science jerks try to explain a rainbow to you.
Let's talk about that. What's happening inside of our rainbow?
Let's take a look at another raindrop here.
This is a big raindrop.
Big raindrop, cut in half. The light from the sun comes in like so. It enters this side of the raindrop and it starts to bend into its colors right here. It bounces off the back of the raindrop, goes out here, bends again, and spreads out even further into the colors. Now what that means is that it makes a very definite angle here between the incoming light and the refracted or spread out light. And that angle is about 42 degrees. Roughly.
So you have to have at least that angle or that angle to create this bending and bouncing to come out like this.
So as you can see, you have a couple of science geeks here trying to explain to you a rainbow through a raindrop, but yet they're not showing you a whole raindrop. They are cutting that raindrop in half, which leaves what? A dome-shaped raindrop, to demonstrate to you how the rainbow makes a curved shape.
Let's take a look at another raindrop here.
This is a big raindrop.
Big raindrop, cut in half. The light from the sun comes in like so. It enters this side of the raindrop and it starts to bend into its colors right here. It bounces off the back of the raindrop, goes out here, bends again, and spreads out even further into the colors.
So here we are with science, once again, cannot duplicate what they're trying to explain, just like they can't duplicate a spinning ball of water. And they never will, just like they cannot duplicate a raindrop refracting the sunlight. They have to cut it in half. But I duplicated it in real time, and you've seen it with your own eyes. The only way that you can get that type of reflection is when the sunlight, the white light, passes through the glass prism and refracts the colors. And those colors will be in the shape of whatever prism, whatever shape the prism, the white light, the sun, is shining off of.
And God said, "Let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters." And God made the firmament, and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament. And it was so.
All right, I'm going to read to the internet. This book is relatively old in terms of, quote unquote, the internet. This guy here I'm on the fence with. It remains to be seen whether or not he meant to mislead people or not. Some of the information naturally does hold water, which is why I'm going to read to you. He kept some really dastardly characters near and dear to him, and they had to do with, and still have to do with, all things space propaganda, globe theory, horse shit. With that in mind, I am not Team Flat Earth. That's the other paradigm that was spoon-fed to the masses, and they repeat it. Because what do I usually say about the masses? Yeah, one of the characters in question is Richard C. Hoagland. And if you don't know who that is, you should probably look him up. Not a good dude. Definitely misleading people. Let's waste our lives looking for structures on the moon. Page 157. Chapter 10, it looks like. And it looks like it's Experimentum Crucis. Even though I almost thought I should say circus. Critical reading be damned. When the Old Testaments were translated into English, the complex analogy, metaphor, and symbolism of the Hebrew language was sometimes lost. The ancient Hebrew sages understood that the divine hand had left certain knowledge obscured, revealing prophecy, especially was reserved for future men and kingdoms, as God himself set the times and seasons. Newton believed that his understanding of the natural world had been granted in this context, and that his significant accomplishments were manifest by the providence of God. The Jewish mystical works from antiquity inspired him to seek scientific truth that upheld the verified scripture, implementing him to focus. I don't know why that doesn't seem right. Oh, there's no T. Impelling him to focus, his analytical and powerful intellect equally between the scientific and spiritual realms. I'm likely going to fuck up plenty of this, so bear with me. Newton's theory and properties of light. Optics, 1704 or 04 for most folks, contains many symbolic aspects of the foremost Jewish mystical works on the same subject. The Book of Light, or the Zohar, it explains that creation emanated from the stone set in the Temple Mount of Jerusalem, and that the point at which it dwells is the center of the universe. Page 158. Here, we should probably dance back. It also focuses on universality. Is that right? Universality is what it looks like, of the Temple of Jerusalem, and more importantly, its link between dimensions. Newton began researching the Zohar and other books of Judaic mystical thought in the, looks like 1670s. 20 years before he developed his looks like corpuscular theory of light, which explained that light was transmitted by particles through experiments he performed at Cambridge. As a fundamental text of Jewish mysticism, Newton read the Zohar from cover to cover. In the Jewish Book of Light, the rainbow is linked with the foundation stone and Noah's covenant with God. The Hebrew word for the foundation stone is Eben Shet-Iyah. Remember, everybody mispronounces all things Yiddish, Hebrew, this, that, and the other thing. And you can spell it phonetically however you want, but also take to heart that words have power. So depending on how you do this and how it's spoken, different resonant frequencies or tonal qualities will be produced. Tread lightly. That's my word of caution. Stone of drawing forth. And he is considered the hidden source of the water of life from which the world drinks. When the Holy One, blessed be he, was about to create the world, he detached one precious stone from underneath his throne of glory and plunged it into the abyss. One end of it remained fastened therein, while the other end stood out above. Out of the latter the world started, spreading itself to the right and left and into all directions. This alludes to the foundation stone, which is the central point of the universe and one which stands the Holy of Holies. In the Talmud, or Talmud, however you want to pronounce it, the ancient Jewish sages explained that this stone was called Shetiyah. What was the other one again? Eben Shetiyah, which in Hebrew also means drinking, because it is hidden the source of all springs and fountains from which the world drinks its water. This was based on the belief that the world was created from the stone located in the Holy of Holies of the temple in Jerusalem, thus forming the center of the world. It goes on to say that the Eben Shetiyah, on which the ineffable name of God is inscribed, serves as the capstone that seals the waters of the abyss and prevents them from welling up and overwhelming the world. These concepts are based on several texts of the Old Testament. Because the Word of God produced the universe, the foundation of his creation was both a symbol of the world and the stone underlying. Hold on, I was making sure this was still recording. Underlying the temple. Scripture uses the phrase, the Word of God and the foundation stone, to signify Jesus Christ. Isaiah 28:16, John 1:1-3:1-4. The Bible also identifies the Word of God as the source for all living waters. The progression of creation in Genesis describes first darkness over the water, second the creation of light. Real fast, I've rattled off numerous times that frequency precedes light, the feminine precedes the masculine, the list goes on. Magnetism precedes electricity. I mean, it's anywhere you look, and it makes perfect sense. Babies come out of vaginas, but what do I know? All right, the third, the separation of the waters of the world from the waters of heaven. And then you get a binary state because it's a binary system. All right, back to point. Sorry, tangents. The Zohar explains that the waters of heaven and the throne of God are of the same essence. The three primary colors and the one compound of them, the rainbow, which we mentioned before, are all one symbol. So I got sweat just pouring off my back. And they all show themselves in the cloud. And above the firmament that was over their heads was the likeness of the throne, as the appearance of the sapphire's stone. This alludes to the foundation stone, which is the central point of the universe and on which stands the Holy of Holies. Exodus 24:10 also describes the same firmament as blue and transparent, as they saw the God of Israel. Remember, Israel is another name for Jacob, the heel catcher. Remember, Jacob was renamed in the Bible. When you look up at the zodiac at night, which is actually the guided stars, not the fixed stars. It's also translated to the little animals. That's the heel catcher. That's Israel. That's Jacob. And there was under his feet, as it were, a paved work of sapphire, and as it were, the body of heaven in its clearness. In both the Zohar and the biblical texts, the word used for sapphire is, can you see it? It's right above declare. It looks like Cephar, sephar, meaning to score with a mark, number, count, reckon, declare, write. Also remember, to reckon the number of the beast is to count the number of the beast. It doesn't come up enough. Or to count exactly or accurately. A sephar, again, Cephar, is also used throughout the Bible to represent a book or a scroll, as were the books of law given to Moses. The pavement in Exodus 24:10 is Libna, or it looks like Libna. in Hebrew meaning whiteness or transparency. This idea of transparency is reinforced further by the description of the sapphire, as it were the body of heaven in its clearness. That was page 159, now we're on 160. I've also rattled this off numerous times and have had lots of fights with people verbally speaking about Pascal's triangle is no different from Sierpinski's triangle. It's a different angle. It's the same fucking thing. And triangles represent light. Crudely speaking, do think of Legend of Zelda and the Triforce. It's also Sierpinski's triangle and Pascal's triangle. But you're not supposed to connect the dots. Metaphorically, in the same way the sapphire pavement or firmament of heaven is the source for rain and presents light through it in colors of the rainbow, the foundation stone in the view of the ancient sages should divide light. As the sun's light from heaven is transmuted through the sky, heaven is transmitted to the temple on earth through the foundation stone. In the Zohar, this stone is akin to a dimensional doorway. I think it goes on to tell you what I want to tell you. Yes, it does. Newton also understood this, since the ancient Hebrew symbol for door was also the fourth letter, for having to do with matter, of their alphabet, Dalet, which was in the shape of a triangle. Food for thought. It says figure 32, image by author. He made a triangle. All right. This is the shape of the prism. Metaphorically, the sapphire stone is associated with the fourth day of creation, when the dry land of the earth was formed. Newton called his use of a prism in separating light an experimentum crucis, crucial experiment. Doesn't have to do with the circus, after all. Proving that, I know I'm not funny, proving that the prism was not coloring the light, but separating it. Again, not coloring the light, but separating it. Newton describes this process for dividing the constituent colors from the light of the sun in a letter to publisher, looks like of Royal Society of London for the Improvement of Natural Knowledge, February 6, 1671. Oh, good. Here's the letter. Sir, to perform my late promise to you, I shall, without further ceremony, acquaint you that in the beginning of the year, it looks like 1666, at which time I applied myself to the grinding of optic glasses of other figures than spherical, I procured me a triangular glass prism. I spit on the book. To try therewith the celebrated phenomena of colors. And in order thereto, having darkened my chamber, and made a small hole in my window shuts, to let in the convenient quantity of the sun's light, I placed my prism at his entrance, that it might be thereby refracted to the opposite wall. For Newton, the use of the triangular prism in his crucial experiment was a realization of, looks like supernal with, is that right? Yeah. Supernal, with the ordinary, the spiritual dimension manifesting in the terrestrial. Knowing the literal Hebrew meaning of the foundation stone as a number of mathematical formula and a book, i.e. scripture to self, Newton was compelled to understand its properties. For Newton, the stamp of God's authorship was evident in both the material creation and the words written in the Bible. Both reflected the same divine intelligence. It should come as no surprise that the sacred number of the, where is it at? Make sure it's in frame. Prisca Sapienta. And notice this number. This will come up a lot. People don't understand it, but I would love to teach you about it. And if you run through my alpha video, it has to do with that video. It's the first video in my TikTok with matrix code falling on a television set. It appears in the physics of light through water. This phenomenon is best described in the biblical account of the rainbow, a symbol of God's covenant with Noah. it says, I do set my bow in the cloud, and it shall be for a token of covenant between me and the earth. And it shall come to pass, when I bring a cloud over the earth, that the bow shall be seen in the cloud, and I will remember my covenant, which is between me and you and every living creature, all of the earth, all of flesh. And the waters shall no more become a flood to destroy all flesh. Also remember, let's see if I get this right. Yeah, beginning of the Bible talks about a bow, which you see here. It's the end of the Bible when the Jebus, the Isis, it's Mercury, it's Baphomet, it's all those things, comes back with a rainbow about its feet. Food for thought. The Hebrew word, however you pronounce that, looks like quesheth, meaning to bend or a bow, is used for the covenant of the rainbow in this passage. As a covenant, the rainbow is analogous in meaning to the word arcus, it says a bow, also used for the Ark of the Covenant of Moses in Latin translations of Genesis. Although Aristotle was the earliest to devote serious study to the rainbow, his mistaken explanation misled thinkers for centuries. Newton was the first to correctly describe the phenomena in optics. And this was page 161. This is where I was trying to get you guys to, but I feel like you should probably hear all the aforementioned jazz. I don't know if I'll read the whole thing to you, but yeah, that's it actually. We're almost there. So page 162. It says, figures from Isaac Newton's Optics, Book 1, Part 2. Yeah, Book 1, Part 2, Tab 4. Jesus fucking Christ, right? The critical angles of refraction of light in water droplets of a rainbow. Maybe you guys can see it. Let's see. It's mostly in frame. Hopefully it's in focus. And you can look this shit up. Just use the keywords. Below it says, hang on, let me get rid of that. Below it says, Figure 33, author's rendition of figures from Isaac Newton's Optics Book 1, Dover Publications, Minola, New York, 1952, page 33. I feel like I just spit it on it again. A rainbow is caused by the refraction and reflection. I'll read that again. A rainbow is caused by the refraction and reflection of the rays of the sun through raindrops. Light is refracted as it enters the sphere of the raindrop. I'm just making up words here. Is reflected from the drop's opposite side and is again refracted as it leaves the drop and passes to the observer's eye. A rainbow will reflect back towards a viewer only at a certain angle. This is known as the critical angle of reflection, which for water is about 49 degrees, or 7 times 7. Oh, I deleted it. I left you guys a video in TikTok and I deleted it because I didn't think anybody gave a shit. Maybe I'll put it back on there. Light that travels at an angle or incidence more than 49 degrees will not leave a droplet of water. However, light with angles less than 49 degrees will leave the water. This is why rainbows do not appear if the sun is too high in the sky. This critical reflection angle is based on 360 and 7. Focus. Is this the right one? No. There's another one. That's the broken one. Yes, I keep it around. 360 times 7. And there's that number again. There's that number again. All right, so down here, take a screenshot, pour over the figures. Think about them. Notice that he's knocking out angles having to do with this, so you can appreciate the angles. And below all this, it says the reflection of this equation is, and then we'll jump over the next page. So page 163. final stretch in here. If you want to take a screenshot, now is a good time. It's not quite straight, but it's close enough. All right. As it reads, the smallest number that can be expressed as product of two reversible numbers in two different ways is none other than this number. And then you already should have a screenshot of this, but that's only if you're invested, which means you're involved. The last bit says, mathematically, 2,520 possesses a mirror-like quality. These same numbers are found in the seventh day of 360-degree revolutions of the earth when God rested from his creation, a similar metaphor existing in the name Noah. Noah is also the etymological root of the word navy, navigation, and the Greek nous, N-A-U-S, the holy place of the Temple of Jerusalem. The physics of light and water agree with the arithmetic of the circling of Jericho, the water on the wall of Daniel, and the sacred cubit. What he does not state is Noah, or N-O-E, also means to rest. As always, what the fuck do I know? If you sat through this, thank you. It's gonna have to be broken up into numerous sections if I put it on TikTok. And if I put it on TikTok, YouTube, or Instagram, 10-1, some of the clips in here are gonna be flagged. TikTok likes to mute this shit because that's patently fascist. And YouTube will, at least as of late, flag it with a copyright infringement, which means it stays online unless I delete it and I chance losing the account. But it's not. None of these things are going to pop up in your feed, is my point. So if you know decent people, tell them what I get up to. Because otherwise, no one fucking shows up to the account, typically speaking, especially when I'm really under the radar. Or I mean, not under the radar. Fuck, I can't think of the word offhand. I'm being shadow banned, I'm censored, blah, blah, blah. Persecuted. That's one way to put it. People love to talk about bullying. I mean, it's what it is. It's harassment. It's our master's tactics. And this is what these days. And yeah. Each one of these platforms, they're all moderated by our masters. And that's why this is the status quo. Despite the fact that freedom of speech should exist, be it a digital format or not, but you and I never put anything into writing to protect us in this digital arena, this medium, which was a brilliant thought, but our masters were banking on us being taken in by entertainment and convenience, not thinking for ourselves, and not thinking that somebody was out to get us and control us, manipulate us, and that's exactly what is taking place. If it wasn't absolutely ever present and evident. But as always, again, what the fuck do I know? Thanks for hanging out with me. Have a super day. People love to hear that.